Number 4, hopefully you're getting good at this now and you're starting to understand how to check for symmetry. We have 3 checks. You got to check whether it's symmetric to theta is pi over 2. You got to see if it's symmetric to the polar axis. And you've got to see if it's symmetric to the pole. So let's try whether it's symmetric to theta equals pi over 2. The first test says change both r and theta to negative r and negative theta. So if I do that, you can see me get negative r is 4 plus 3 sine theta, divide by negative 1, and I get r is negative 4 minus 3 sine theta. So part A was a no. Going to part B of the same symmetry, keeping r positive right here, but changing the angle to pi minus theta, I get r equals 4 minus 3 sine pi minus theta. Use the identity, so that would be 3 sine pi cosine theta minus cosine pi sine theta. Sine pi is 0, so that whole term would turn to 0, and cosine pi is negative 1, so I have minus a negative 1 sine theta. So I end up with 4 minus 3 sine theta. So that was a yes for part B. So down here, where you have your little box, it's symmetric to theta equals pi over 2. Yes, it is a check. It is. Now, checking to see whether it's symmetric to the polar axis. Part A says just change the angle. And we know if we change the angle to negative, it comes back out in front, and that would change that to a positive. So immediately you could see part A is a no. Let's look at part B. You change r to negative r and change the angle to pi minus theta. So here we have the negative r, and here's us writing it out with, instead of theta, it's pi minus theta. Use the identity sine pi cosine theta minus cosine pi sine theta. Okay, use that identity. And sine pi is 0, and so you have a minus a negative 1, so you end up with 4 minus 3, and then a plus a sine theta. So you get r, so you end up right here with negative r equals 4 minus 3 sine theta. Got to multiply that negative r through, and you get r equals negative 4 plus 3 sine theta. So no, that's a no for polar axis. So polar axis is a no. And then let's check the pole. Okay, first checking the pole, you change r to negative r, but keep theta the same. And so that would be r equals 4 minus 3 sine theta. Multiplying that through, you're not going to get the right, the same thing. So now we change it to r and pi plus theta. So here's us doing that, changing it to sine pi cosine theta plus cosine pi sine theta, and you end up with 4 plus 3 sine theta, which is not minus 3. This is wrong, so that would be a no. So just symmetric to theta equals pi over 2. All right, so that's the first part of the notes where we learn how to test for symmetry. I know it's long and complicated, but it's something you have to learn. So, and it'll make sense when we start graphing them. All right, here we go.